What is going on, guys? We are back with another video today, and you guys can already tell by the title and some of the news going on around the NFL that it was going to be a video about this. I was thinking about doing it or not, but I feel like it's got some legitimacy, as I feel like this is the way he's been thinking for a while now. Maybe even the Jeopardy thing has been even a kind of, not, I wouldn't say a slight dig at the Packers, but even a, like a subtle sign that, things were kind of brewing and all that, because he was talking about like, oh, I can do this and football. And it's like, he doesn't seem as committed. But apparently Rodgers is unhappy with the Packers, and he has no reason to want to come back to the Packers, which is really interesting because they just came off of a really good season. I mean, if you guys have been watching me this last season on the prediction videos and predictions, I've been talking about how I almost never really believe in the Packers to go all the way, but last year I really believed in it. So I don't know if it was just one of those things where it's just stinging him that much, and he just thinks he's not going to complete the whole thing with the Green Bay Packers. But realistically, if he was going to be done with the Packers, it would have been after the draft. Right when the draft happened, it would have been right then and there. I don't know what happened internally that changed that even more, because they re-signed Aaron Jones. I'm not saying that the Packers are like the smartest team ever, and they wouldn't have re-signed him if it wasn't for him, but I feel like Rodgers had a bit of pull on that one alone, because Rodgers obviously loved Aaron Jones, and a lot of us know that it's not a smart idea to re-sign a running back long term, especially when that number is 10 plus per year. Aaron Jones is a very good player, but I think you could easily get what he was providing through the draft in the third round or second round, even if you had to, which ironically enough they did with AJ Dillon. It was a terrible draft, and honestly, like Jordan Love, I get it, right? Replacing your backup. When you think about a rookie quarterback, you're not going to be re-signing a rookie quarterback to, some $20+ million deal. But in Rodgers' mind, I'm not really sure what he's getting at when you get the rookie quarterback for 4 years, and then you have the 5th-year option. 5 years from, the point of the draft. What was he, 35, almost 36, maybe even 36 going on 37 here. I mean, he said he wants to play till 40. That is kind of right around that, right? So as much as I understand it, at the same time, he's kind of being the dramatic player that we know him to be. When you really think about it, if you're saying you want to play till 40, that's what the Packers did. They drafted a guy that would play when you're gone at 40. So, I mean, I don't know. I get it. I think the big issue isn't that they necessarily took quarterback, which it is a big issue, but trading up for one, that's what makes it so much worse. Is I think if they would have sat at their spot and Jordan Love fell and they took him, okay, maybe, but when you trade up, you're going out of your way to take that position, right? So, I don't know. I think that was a big factor. Of course, you can make the argument, our wide receiver and all this, which I suppose there were some guys there. Maybe Justin Jefferson is a big reason. He gets to see the guy in his own division that could have changed the team to become literally unstoppable. But realistically, even though I was kind of mad at quarterback selection, I'm like, oh, where's the weapons? The Packers showed that they don't necessarily need like a first-round wide receiver to compete. The Packers have succeeded plenty of times. I mean, really in the last decade not even just the last decade, literally in the last decade, with all second and later round players. And he's had some really good teams, especially in the 2010s. Those are some, maybe even the most stacked receiving groups ever, and we only got one ring out of it. So I'm not gonna say that Rodgers is perfect and it's everyone around him that needs to do better. He's sold a lot of times in his own past as well. The Seattle game, they should have never lost, but he was far from perfect. This last game, I felt like he was pretty good, but in the first half, he was pretty pedestrian. And then on that final drive, you could say, oh, well, why did they kick the field goal? I think there's a lot to it that people were saying imagine they put the ball completely in Rodgers' hands and he just goes and gets 0 points. At least at the field goal, the coach can be the scapegoat. And of course, you still feel like you have to stop Brady anyways, even if you do somehow tie that game up. So, I mean, there's a lot to that. There's every little thing you think doesn't matter, there is a lot to it. You know, Rodgers was stupid Jeopardy joke where the guy was like, whoever decided to kick the field goal. I'm going to be honest, the way the Packers played in the goal line, the field goal might have saved his legacy a bit. Because, like I said, there's a damn good chance with the way that drive was ending that we would have came up with 0 points, which would have been like the most anti-clutch thing in the world. At least, like I said, with the coach kicking the field goal, there's a bit of a scapegoat. Of course, speaking of the Rodgers thing, if it's true he doesn't want to return, which it seems that way, I mean, who freaking knows? Maybe even this was a big test. Maybe he told like a few organization members that, you know, he was trying to test them and say, hey, I don't want this to come out. Which, I mean, to be fair, you'd have to have some real like self motivation. I want like greed, I guess, because realistically, this does not help the organization at all. When if the Packers know that Rodgers doesn't want to come back and they want to trade him, this would be like the worst thing for leveraging trades, is this coming out, because people know. I mean, I suppose trading, if Rodgers agrees to it, I suppose is no. Does he have a no trade clause? I know he has a player option thing where he can just leave us next season. But obviously, when teams know that he's unhappy, the offers are going to come in a lot less. You know, you're not going to get as much. So I don't even know how something like this comes out unless he wants it to come out. So I'm really just trying to think of, like, how did it come out that this is the way he feels? I'm interested to see how this plays out. We could actually see some more of this in the first round, or not even more of this, but the actual like conclusion right away. Jordan Love may be the starter in Green Bay this upcoming season. I'm not sure how that works though, because I'm pretty sure the Packers are still on the hook, at least for this season. I'm pretty sure next season is when things would really kick off. So, like I said, it is kind of I don't know. It is kind of interesting to see why this is happening now. Like I said, the timetable seems really, really strange. Maybe he is throwing this out there as like a curveball to make Green Bay go out and get a receiver in the draft. I'm not sure, but it just seems, the timing seems so strange. I know you don't want to like show everyone, because he made it pretty obvious that he wasn't happy after the draft, but it just seems so odd, the timing, because no matter what he tries to pull this season, I don't think there's a possibility he isn't playing in Green Bay this year. I just don't see how that's possible. The Packers, he would have to hold out because, I mean, we can't get rid of him. We don't have the cap for it. He's got a pretty big dead number until next year. I don't get it. I guess the extension process, because they wanted to restructure him, which, you know what? Once again, I'm gonna attack Rodgers on this one. You want to win a Super Bowl, they want to restructure you to help the team, yet you want it your way. I mean, I think man, it's so hard because as a Rodgers fan, I love the way he plays, but man, his off the field like persona, it really is flawed as can be. I mean, ever since, I would say probably maybe even when he was a high schooler, he was probably like the biggest egotistical person in the world. But the Packers side also has an ego. They wanna have their own legacy on this thing, and I mean, I don't like the draft they had at all. I really don't. But I will say that I don't know what else they could have done post-draft to make him any happier. I really don't. They re-signed Jones. Like I said, I think that's a bad decision. I feel like that's a decision to try to make him happy. They had the number one passing offense. What made him mad? I don't understand. You can blame the defense all you want, which there were a lot of issues, but I mean, what team doesn't? I mean, there's very rare circumstances where teams are perfect throughout every single game. The defense had to bail the offense out a few times too, so it goes both ways. The Packers had all the opportunities in the world, and they just failed on that final drive. Rodgers missed a couple of wide-open touchdown players in that game. Lazard specifically, I don't know what happened. It's really going to be interesting to see what happens here. Interesting to see if somehow a trade does get done in the first round, because obviously it's not going to happen on day 2. That would just make no sense. Could you imagine an interdivisional trade? I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, you don't want your rivals to get your quarterback, and that would be like the worst thing possible. But with how desperate the Bears have been for a quarterback, if they can afford them, which I don't think they can, if they're willing to give you the house, you may just make them homeless, honestly. I don't know. Could you imagine that doesn't happen? Like, that does... I didn't think about that, though. Like, money has to be a very important thing for him, because for how much he wants to win another Super Bowl and how much he takes from the team salary-wise, if money wasn't a big issue, he would just take a really low deal and win it all. But that is a good point, that if he decides he wants to hold out, that he would do Jeopardy, which would be really, really interesting. It would just be the most counterproductive thing I've ever seen, I think. But you never know. You never know. That could be what happens. Hopefully Jordan Love's that dude, because you have put all of this in jeopardy, Gutekunst. Unbelievable. But you know what? That's the interesting thing about the NFL. You never know what's going to happen, and this is a super confusing time, I'll say. And I've been seeing a lot of like Denver Broncos rumors. I do not understand why you would want to do that. If he gets to decide where he wants to go, and it's somewhere that isn't named San Francisco, and that might be it, to my knowledge, for teams that I would think that could make a better run than the Packers right now, I don't know what to tell you. If Rodgers tries to go to the Broncos, maybe he's dumber than I thought. The Broncos have a good offense. Their defense is lacking hard. They're not in a better spot than Green Bay at all. This would be a personal thing, not a bettering his future thing. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section below, though, who you guys think should trade for Rodgers. If this is all legitimate and it's going to go down the path that it might seemingly be headed towards, I mean, I don't see how... See, Rodgers is a big enough name to where he can easily say he's not happy and then just turn the ship around and say, yeah, I'll play again. Screw it. You're welcome. But I don't know. This is kind of stuff that once you hear these rumors, it's all out there and it's unrepairable. So I'm not sure. Of course, the draft's going to be interesting now. More interesting than ever as a Packers fan. We'll see what happens. If we see wide receiver in the first round, you got to think the rumors are 100% true. Or maybe we might not even get to that point because the trade will be on. I don't know. Anyways, thanks for watching. Definitely keep the conversation going in the comment section. Please do so. More than ever, I wanna interact. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll have a stream after the draft tonight. We'll probably have a video during the draft, maybe multiple if there is a trade. And that's about it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you guys come back in the next video. But until next video, see ya!